Hey guys, before we start this episode, I wanted to talk to you about Type 1 lifting. So, Type 1 lifting is a clothing line that proceeds of the shirts and tanks and everything else goes to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. So, this all came about with me and seeing a 5-year-old girl in the emergency department that had new onset of diabetes. So, just take a look at the website. It's www.type1lifting.com. So just check it out. If you don't buy anything, that's perfectly fine. I would just like for you just to take a look and just see what we have. So, like I said before, www.type1lifting.com. And guys, I hope you enjoy the show. Hey guys, we have a new sponsor for the Type 1 Lifting podcast. The company's called Liberté Lifestyle. So Liberté is a French word meaning freedom, and the company was founded on the desire to have freedom to choose what we want to do with our lives. I actually had the owner, Nicole, on my podcast on episode 28, so if you want to go back and listen to her, she talks about how she started the company and what she wants to do in the future with the company, which is pretty cool. So they actually have knee sleeves, wrist wraps, shirts, shorts. Love the knee sleeves. I have the ice cream knee sleeves, and I love them so much. The neoprene's still good. The seams haven't split compared to other knee sleeves that I've had in the past, and I'm planning to keep these for a very, very long time. So Nicole actually gave me a promo code for you guys too. So it's all capital letters, TYPE, and the number 1. So it's Type 1. So go to libertelifestyle.com, check out what they have in the store, use the promo code Type 1, and save some coin. Now let's go to the episode.
Good, we did it now.
Yeah, exactly. All right, guys, welcome to another episode of the Type 1 Lifting Podcast. I have fellow diabetic, Olympic weightlifter, and ultra runner, Eric Zucaro. How you doing?
I'm great. Thanks for having me, Thomas.
Yeah, so, we've been connecting with each other through Instagram, and it's actually nice to finally have an interaction kind of Zoom, but like actually talking to each other instead of just typing.
Yeah, I always love interacting with diabetics because you don't meet that many in the wild, so it's always cool to create a connection. Yeah, and definitely. one with someone who does like CrossFit and lifting is always a plus up there, you know?
Yeah, no, totally agree. So when did you get diagnosed with diabetes?
I think it was like June, like 29th, 2004, sometime around then. I was 10 years old, and I was supposed to watch, I don't know what Spider-Man was coming out that year, but I was supposed to watch one of the Spider-Mans with my dad. And we scheduled a pediatrician appointment first because, when you pee a lot when you're on road trips and your parents start worrying, why are you peeing like every rest stop? You got to check that out. So that's what happened. And got a blood panel, and then they wanted further tests. So they sent me to a children's hospital, and I was diagnosed at 10.
Yeah. So what was your thoughts going through that? I mean, granted, you're 10 years old. You're a little young, so it's like you don't really understand. You understand a little bit, but not that much. But like, what were your feelings throughout the whole interaction with that getting diagnosed?
So it was kind of mixed. Like it's always the first thought that goes to your head, like, what is this? Why is this? How is this? The 5 W's and whatnot, and it's like, why me? Why was I chosen for this?
Yeah.
They give you the statistics always, and it's like, only 1 in 10,000 kids have this, and I'm like, oh great, so I'm one of them, great. But then I've had relatives that had not diabetes, but illnesses that were hereditary or terminal, and I was just like, it could be worse. I could have cancer, and I just said, it wasn't like a one-step process where I just kept my head up. It was like let's just see what happens, and maybe we can fix this, or maybe we can get through this, and still have it, but we're getting through it.
Yeah. So with your parents, like, what was their interaction, and what were their feelings, and like, did they have, like, how did they help you out manage your diabetes?
My mom is like really type 1, like not type 1 diabetes, but like type 1 personality.
Yeah.
Type 1. So she's like really on top of things, like sometimes too much. So she'll still message me to this day, like, make sure you pack your insulin, like this and that. And I'm like, I'm 27, I can pack my own things. But, I forget sometimes. We all do, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. So my dad's a little the opposite. So it kind of worked out where they balance each other. But my dad didn't know what was going on. We always had to teach him, like, how to give insulin shots just in case I needed it, even though I can do it myself. And the school nurse knew how to do it also. But, my mom was really on top of this, where she, like, researched all these things. My dad still sends me articles, even though it's kind of future technology. You get articles from your family.
Yeah.
Am I the only one? Okay, good. Yeah. So it's good. It's they're supportive of me, but it's also when you have parents that don't have a condition that you have, they have a one-track mind where they think diabetics can and can't do something, and I never got with that. I always took that to heart, because I didn't want my family, let alone I don't want anyone, let alone my family, telling me I can and can't do a 50 miler or something. I wanted to just do it. Yeah. And I wanted to show them that I could do it despite the circumstances.
Yeah, very cool. So when you were diagnosed as a little kid, did you get like burnout phases or anything like that? Because granted, like, I got diagnosed a lot later on in life, so I don't have the experience of like getting diagnosed at such a young age as like yourself.
What do you mean by burnout? Like, you're just tired of doing all this stuff?
Yeah, pretty much.
Yeah, I mean, it's mixed. Like, I would not forget per se, but I would just eat a lot. And this isn't even as a kid. This is more like as a young adult, because I would be in college and high school, and I just want to hang out and have a normal life, and I would somewhat forget. And I think it's a lot easier now when you have all this technology that makes it really hard to forget when it's attached to you.
Yeah.
But when you have like an insulin pen and it's in your little bag over there, you don't always remember to go to your little bag over there. So, you're at the pizza shop and you have 3 slices of pizza and you're like, wait a minute. And then your sugar spikes. But I never said I have burnout. Like, I don't get tired of doing it. I just forget to stay on top of it as well as someone should,
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And which it happens. I mean, there's times that I forget and my blood sugar skyrockets, and you think you take the insulin, but it's just like, oh wait, no, you didn't, dumbass. Nice job.
Yeah, and then sometimes you take too much, and then you don't know what's going on, and I don't know, the labels or something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. I have that. Go ahead. So
for some reason, fruits don't touch my blood sugar at all anymore. Yeah.
Wow.
Nope, not even not bananas, apples, oranges, nothing. Maybe berries, but I don't see anything with that either.
Huh. That's really interesting.
I used to bolus for them, and I would always go low. And then my doctor's like, okay, well, let's just change your levels. And I'm like, okay, we'll do that. And then I wouldn't have fruit, and then I would just be like super high. And I'm like, I don't know what's going on. And like, then I started testing. I would have a banana, with my meal, and then I would just bolus for everything except for the banana. Blood sugar would be perfect. So I just don't understand it, but it is what it is.
Yeah, that's really interesting. I've never I pretty much everything for me, like, my blood sugar goes up.
Really?
Anything. And then but the weird thing is sometimes if I drink alcohol, which I'm like trying to stop doing that, my blood sugar just like drops.
Oh yeah, it'll spike though depending on the type of alcohol you have, and then it'll just drop.
Yeah, because there's been times I've been at a wedding and I've had like a couple drinks. This was like years like when I first got diagnosed, and my blood sugars were in the 40s, and they had instead of wedding cakes, they had actually donuts for the cake. And so I was like literally scarfing like down donuts, and my wife's like losing her mind saying, "You're a diabetic, you shouldn't be eating that shit." And I'm like, but my blood sugar's low. Like, what do you want me to do? Like, I need something, and there's like really nothing else here. So
yeah, don't go for the alcohol at that point. That'll be worse.
Yeah, exactly. But one thing I always have trouble with, like, just like managing my blood sugar, is like eating pancakes. I love pancakes. I'll eat pancakes like all day, but like it's just hard to like kind of gauge on like how much, like how, like, because obviously the serving size is a little bit different compared to the pancakes I make. So it's kind of like bolusing that, and I always like drop all the time, and it's like so annoying.
Yeah, I think it's just a lot of trial and error in diabetes. Like, especially if you make things by eye and you don't like measure everything. Because when I do these diets or cutting for something, I measure like to the gram. I measure to the decimal, to the tenth of a gram. So I know everything that's going in my body, kind of.
Yeah.
So I can just add everything up. But that's a lot of work to do when you're maintenance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're in maintenance, you kind of just want to eat and just do it by eye and not have to worry about all these numbers and crap. So I get what you're saying with the pancakes, because that is a hit or miss food. But if there's directions on the box, if you're using a box, then that helps. But if you're just doing it by batter, then probably not.
Yeah. So how do you handle like going out, like traveling and eating?
Um, Travel is tough because like I feel like the sugars are always weird when you're
Mm-hmm.
like doing like a extended trip, like a car ride or a plane ride. It's just always erratic for some reason, and I just have to remember to bring extra because like I use a pump now, so I have to, if I don't remember my insulin vial and all the supplies to change it and extra, I could be severely screwed out there. Unless I can find a pharmacy that'll give it to me, which I doubt. But yeah, I mean, when I'm eating at a restaurant, it's pretty hard. I mean, I just try to give more, honestly, because I'd rather be low blood sugar than high.
Mm-hmm.
And that's weird. That's weird to say, but I know my body better in low, whereas high, it's like I'm backtracking. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I used to be the opposite because I used to say high is okay because I won't die if I'm a high blood sugar, but I could die if I'm low blood sugar, right?
Yep.
But now I'm the opposite because I can control myself better in a low blood sugar.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
I mean, I've driven with a 46. It is what it is.
Yeah. I mean, literally, right before this podcast, I hit 48. So.
Yeah.
And I'm like, crap. And it's like it typically happens with like podcasting too. Like when I have like a guest just about on, I always check my blood sugar about a half hour before, just in case, because there's been times I've been like feeling a little sweaty and a little like little hot, like hammered or something like that. Like I had a couple drinks and I'm like, shoot, I literally have like 5 minutes to eat something before I have to like get on this podcast and interview somebody.
Well, the good thing is this podcast is full of diabetics, so we all understand.
Yeah, true. Diabetics and CrossFit athletes, pretty much. So
yeah.
But yeah. So you, before all this weightlifting stuff, you were actually got into ultra running. So how did that come about?
Okay, all those like obstacle course races, like Spartan race and all that. Yeah. So I was working out in the gym with my fraternity brothers, and they were like, "We just did the Spartan race last summer. You want to do the next one?" I'm like, "Yeah, okay, we'll do that." Train for those, blah, blah. I don't know, 3 years later, that was 2013. 3 years later, I see that Spartan Race is offering an ultra marathon option. So I started training for that. I got a legit running coach for like 3 months just to put on some mileage and not hurt myself.
Mm-hmm.
And I did a 20 miler in a trail. And then eventually I did that 50-kilometer Spartan race. I got injured at mile 8. I guess I jammed my ankle. But then the adrenaline hit in for the rest of the race where I just kept going. And I finished it pretty well. It felt sore. It was raining all weekend, not great. And then the next day I did half of that distance in the same race, but half of that distance. And then I went to I don't know who, orthopedic, I guess.
Yeah.
I went to the orthopedic. He's like, "You have a fracture." So that was 2016. He said, "You're going to be sitting for 3.5 months." And I said, "Okay, I'll do that." He said, "No more running." I'm like, "You got it." I kept doing races because I was registered for something almost every weekend. So the only things I dropped out of that were like these Go Ruck events where you put weights under your back.
Yeah.
Because that's too much for my ankle. I wouldn't risk that. But if I could walk with a brace, like a soft brace,
mm-hmm.
or I could jog with that, and I didn't like stress out the ankle too much, then I was happy. I wasn't going for any time or anything, but I was doing a lot of races for 3.5 months, but no legs, no training legs. I would be in a boot in the gym, and I would just do upper body stuff.
Yeah.
But then I ended up healing in that same 3.5 months that he recommended, and this is probably because I was so young that it just happened to be like that. And I'm athletic, so I have those kind of recovery abilities.
Yeah.
I kept signing up for races like those ultra marathons. I did 3 that year for a Spartan race, and then I eventually did just trail ones, no obstacles, like 50K, and then 2017, I signed up for the North Face 50 miler, and that was my first 50 miler. It was ridiculously hard. I mean, you're talking about a ski mountain in Massachusetts that was like on the average 85 to 90 degrees temperature. A hot summer day in July, and this course was brand new. Apparently, speaking to other people who've done several 50 milers and 100 milers, they told me this was one of the hardest 50 milers in the country that they've ever done.
Wow.
And I was one of the few finishers of that. Like my friend who's a Marine did not finish that. And he told me, yeah, this was way harder than anything I've ever done.
Interesting.
So I don't know. I kind of like the experience of just being out there for a long day. I know it's a long day. I'm settling myself in for, suffering, for pain, and I know it's going to happen. I wasn't even using, I don't know when I started using sensors, and I definitely wasn't using a pump by then, but I don't think I was using sensors then either. So I was just checking my blood sugar via like a manual kit at like 8 stations. And I would check rarely. I would just manage my blood sugars by feel. So if I felt really, really tired, I would assume that I'm low blood sugar and I should have some fuel. And then I would basically stick to fueling every 45 minutes so that my body would regulate itself. And my blood sugar was fine when I finished.
Wow. So were there like 8 stations like every 45 minutes out, or how did that work?
They had 8 stations randomly throughout the courses. I mean, they could be like 3 miles apart. They could be 5, maybe 10, maybe 20 miles sometimes. But you carry fuel with you in like a vest.
Yep. Very cool.
Yeah.
Very cool. So,
yeah.
Do you still do those anymore at all, or?
I wish. I mean, I haven't accomplished my goal of running 100 miles. I might do that eventually if I ever burn out from weightlifting, but I don't like to train for them.
Yeah.
Like I never train for the ultra marathons. I just kind of just do weightlifting or CrossFit, and I show up to the start line and I finish, which isn't the greatest thing, but it works for me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's what happened to me. I did an Atlanta half marathon. This was like years ago before I was like moved down to Georgia, and like I didn't train for it. I just worked out, did the, like you said, CrossFit and stuff, and I mean I did the half marathon in like 2 hours. 2 hours.
That's great.
2 hours and something minutes. So this is pre-diabetes too. So, but it's like even with like a bike riding 100 miler, I would be like bike ride for like 30 miles and that's it, and then just be done with it, and then just granted
Just
I was like
up.
really sore the next day, but I mean, but it was perfectly fine.
Yeah, I mean, when you do something like CrossFit, you should be fit enough to do any form of fitness with some level of capacity,
Yeah. So speaking about Olympic lifting, so you're doing Olympic lifting now. So how did that come about?
Okay, so CrossFit.
Okay.
Obviously started in CrossFit. I started CrossFit right after I was cleared to get out of the boot. So July 2016.
Mm-hmm.
And I've been doing it since. And I did my first open in 2017. The open workout, 17.3, squat snatches and chest to bar ladder.
Yep.
Yeah. I was so bad at the snatches. Like I couldn't finish the 8-minute cap, the round of 35, 135. I couldn't finish that. And I'm like, I want to know how to snatch correctly, because they weren't teaching me in CrossFit. Like in CrossFit, it was just put the weight up and, be safe and stuff. But, my gym wasn't really great with Olympic lifting or any technique stuff to begin with. And it's hard to say. It's like some CrossFit gyms just missed the mark on that, but it is what it is.
Yeah.
So I started weightlifting with John North's online team. And I can't say my technique was great because I was teaching myself, but I started getting better, started getting stronger, and I've been doing it since. But I've had 2 coaches since then, so I've I went to Jared Fleming after John North, and did his online thing for like half a year. Switched to Mike Carroll, who's a USAW national coach, and then now I'm with Joe Cosenza, who owns Marble Weightlifting.
Oh, cool.
So yeah, I don't know. I think I was just trying to get better at CrossFit by doing one of the modalities of CrossFit, and then eventually realizing that I don't like CrossFit and I just like weightlifting.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah. No,
you know,
yeah. So what are your numbers?
my bests are I've done 102 or 225 from blocks. I've done 100 from the floor, 220 snatch. Clean and jerk, I've done 134 kilos or 295 pounds, and I've cleaned 137, so 301, and I've jerked 141, so like 311.
Dang, that's good. And how tall are you
Yeah,
roughly?
I'm 5'11.
And what's your weight?
81 kilos, but right now I'm like 83.
Okay.
Yeah.
So that's pretty damn good.
Thanks.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to get better like at snatch. So I know my clean jerk is up there, which is what I need. It's just hard to get the white lights in competition. So I'm just working on the jerk technique for that. So I lower my percentages so I can like make sure I'm hitting, you know, quality jerks, and eventually when I get to the competition I'm all peaked and I can, you know, lock out a lot better.
Yeah.
But I'm training, it's all volume, and it's just hard. For snatches, I like pushing the numbers more, but my coach doesn't want me to. So.
Yeah. So when you talked about white lights, so some people don't know how like an Olympic weightlifting competition happens. So can you just let us know like the ins and outs of like a weightlifting competition?
Sure. So when you compete in the snatch and the clean and jerk, the only two lifts in Olympic weightlifting, you have 3 attempts for each lift. If you fail a snatch or a clean or a jerk in any way, like you cannot complete the lift physically. That's red lights automatically. Like there's no contest to that. Like you can't be given a white light for that. But the sketchier component is when you press out your lift. So if you catch a snatch or a jerk and your elbows rebend, like you catch like this and then you rebend, you're most likely going to get red lights on that. And if you get 2 red lights out of 3 judges, then you will get a no lift. So you only need 2 white lights to get a good lift.
Okay. And then with the competition, if they don't have the lights, they usually have like white flags or red flags, and kind of like
like a little card. Like we used popsicle sticks with a piece of paper on it.
Awesome, very cool.
Yeah.
So your main weakness is pretty much pressing out.
Yeah, you know, when you start with all the strength that you do, and like from CrossFit or like just having a higher bench and not knowing the technique, it will always be press outs and the mobility issues. Before I started doing weightlifting, I was like clean and jerking like 205 to 225 maybe. I don't know, somewhere around there. And my snatch was like 145 maybe, so not high. But like if your mobility is not there and all you do is CrossFit and you don't like work on the weaknesses, then it's most likely going to be press outs that are going to get you, or just the timing of the lifts too.
Yeah. So
it's all like a well-oiled mechanism. You have to get everything going.
Yeah, that was sometimes with me with the press out is always gets me, because like if I'll do a PR lift and I'll get the jerk up, and then sometimes I just get that little bend in the elbow, and I'm like, all right, well I'm gonna count it anyway, but still, it's like you need to work on the press out. So do you do like bench pressing or just do like overhead presses? Like what do you do for that?
I don't do any more bench pressing because the mobility restrictions that kind of press, it kind of like just makes your chest tight. So you have to do more like pectoral stretches for that to fix that. And that's a lot of the stuff that I had to fix. Like when I do Ramwad, I do that. I love that stretch. That's you're like half bent like this, and you're like creating leverage with this arm, and you're pressing and you're kind of twisting with your legs.
Yeah, it's oh gosh, I can't remember.
Twisted cross.
Yeah,
I love that one. Yeah, that's my favorite stretch. But and the door stretch when you go like this and you're like that.
Yeah,
that one's great. But bench pressing, I feel like if you come from a powerlifting background, you're gonna have a bad time with you're gonna have a bad time with Olympic weightlifting, and that's just a learning curve. But a lot of it is the mobility restrictions that bench pressing gives you. I stopped doing that. I wasn't even good at the bench press to begin with. Like my best is like 290. So yeah. For just the mobility, I just do a lot of stretching and we do a lot of jerks. I mean, to get better jerks, you just have to do more jerks. I know everyone says that, but it really is true because I don't really, it's hard to focus on the technique of the jerk while you're doing the jerk. Mm-hmm. You can say dip straight down and press, and then just press straight up and drive right down. But when it comes down to it, you really just have to feel it out. And when you hit the right positions, you'll feel it, you know? So if you don't feel it, then you're not going to know for the next rep, I'll just do it better, bend your back leg, something like that.
Yeah, very cool. So you have a competition on Thursday or this weekend?
No, I'm going to a weightlifting camp with John North in Florida.
Okay, cool. So what are your goals for weightlifting for this year?
For this year, I'd like to total like 240 kilos. Yeah. So, yeah, that's going to be tough. I mean, I would need a 105 and a 135 or like a 100 and a 140 in competition. But, my last competition, I went 5 for 6. So I only missed a 97 snatch, but I made a 94 snatch and a 130 clean and jerk. So that's 224. And I think if I just put more kilos on the snatch, then eventually the clean jerk will just go up naturally, you know? Mm-hmm. I just need I'm trying to keep the clean jerk conservative because I know I can do more than 130. It's just, I don't know if I can get the white lights for that, you know?
Yeah, gotcha. Yeah.
Yeah.
I hear you. So do you partake in this year's Open at all, or are you just like strict weightlifting now?
We did the Open as a gym. So he let us we changed the schedule around. He let us postpone the last 3 workouts so that we could do the meet without fatiguing yourself. And then, we didn't do any of the stupid rules where your bar has to be like 8 foot away from the rig or whatever. Yeah. So yeah, I did the Open. It was interesting.
What was your favorite workout?
I thought it would be 21.2, but because I did pretty well in it 4 years ago, but it was not. I didn't even finish it this year, and I wasn't allowed to retry it. So, yeah. I always do better on the redo because I get the strategy. I know how it feels like, and I can mentally prep for it. And when I did it in 2017, I did 19 minutes, and then I brought it down to 18:05. So I was thinking, I've got to at least finish it this year, right? And I didn't even finish it. I was just no cardio. It's just, I have no cardio in my body. I had I got 3 of the burpee box jumps on the last round. But my favorite workout was the last one, I think.
21.4?
Yeah, well, not that. I mean,
I like 20 together.
I like both of them together. I like 21.3 more, but then it hurt, it sends your body into such a state of pain that 21.4 is just a blur. Yeah. You don't even feel when it's happening.
Yeah. Yeah, when I did 21.3, I managed to do 11 muscle ups, but I haven't done muscle ups in over a year pretty much.
Really?
Yeah. And so when I did my first lift for 21.4, it was 225, and I did the clean and I was like, whoa, this feels heavy. And I was like, holy crap. I was not prepared for it whatsoever. And then I'm like, okay, I'll add 10 more. I'm gonna add 20 more pounds. I just kept on adding 20 more pounds till I hit 277 for that last lift. And then it was funny, I probably had a minute 30 left or something like that, and I was like, I think I'm done. And then my buddy's like, you sure you don't want to do one more? Because I probably could have gone maybe another 10 pounds to do I don't know, maybe one 282, but I'm like, no, I think I'm good. He's like, okay, good, because I have to go to the bathroom. So he just walked off. And he was my judge, and I'm like, okay, all right, I guess I am done. So, yeah, I mean, but 277, I was like, okay, I'll take it.
You had a minute 30 left?
Yeah.
I had 1 second left. I started my last lift with a second left.
Yeah, I did only 3 lifts total. So I was like, that was the main goal. It was like, all right, just get 3 lifts in, and that's
Yeah.
it, and kind of take a breather like every time. And so, like with the programming that I do through Misfit, they have that kind of timing. You're just like, okay, you need to hit a
Yeah.
certain lift, in this amount of time, and then just go. And so, and they do a whole bunch of complexes kind of like that. So I'm kind of used to like
Mm.
holding on to the bar and hanging on. And yeah, so it was just like, all right, I'll just see what happens, because I wasn't really. I mean, I really wanted to do good, but my cardio was like through the just garbage, absolute garbage, and so I was just like, all right,
You
forget
got
it.
11 muscle ups. Don't short that. Don't
Yeah,
short
but like
yourself.
I didn't even finish. Like I don't know, at 21.2, I was 16 minutes and 30 seconds like when I like 4 years ago, and then
Yeah.
I didn't even finish it this
Me
year.
neither, man. Me
So
neither.
I was like so discouraged, but I mean the one highlight is I actually placed 30th on that 21.4 in the world. So
Really?
yeah.
No way. Are
Mhm.
you serious?
Mhm.
And wait, like overall?
Yeah.
Like
In the masters
like
in the masters division.
oh, okay.
I'm an old
That's
bastard.
awesome.
I'm
That's
I'm
awesome.
I'm old. I'm 41, so I'm in the 40 to 44-year-old bracket. So
Oh, you should compete in USA weightlifting. They have a masters division too.
yeah, I mean, I was thinking about doing that too, but I just don't have I'm making excuses, but I need to buy a singlet,
You
and
don't
it's
need a singlet for your first meet.
you don't.
For the first meet, you don't.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, well, you gotta ask the meet director though, but that's the rule. So you don't need a meet. You don't need a singlet for your first meet.
Okay. I was thinking about getting one because Virus had a deal on theirs, so I was just like,
They have so many good deals. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Yeah.
But I don't know. I mean, I may consider it. I mean, the problem is I'm 6'6" and I weigh like 214, so it's
Are you
like,
really 6'6"?
yeah,
Wow.
yeah.
Oh my God.
So I'm like pulling. I'm lifting heavy, but it's like not even close to what the other guys are doing. So
Well, you could cut to the 96 kilo class, and then it's pretty. I don't know. For a masters athlete, that's going to get you some medals, I think.
yeah, we'll figure it out. We'll see what happens. I gotta see what's out there. So I've been just kind of focusing on obviously the podcast and just work in general and like and family. So, but I'll definitely consider it. And most of all those workouts in the open I did were like at 5 o'clock in the morning.
Really?
Yeah,
Oh, I couldn't even imagine.
yeah. Cause
How much caffeine did you have for
oh god,
that?
I had like 2 scoops of like C4, just the C4
Really?
ripped. Yeah, I was just like,
Do you like C4?
it's cheap. That's why. So I'm just like,
Ah,
I like Ghost, but it's just like, or Muscle Farm too, but it's just like, it's there, and I'm like, all right, whatever. I'll just quickly take it, and it doesn't even work anymore. So I just need to mix it up, go back to Ghost or
I
something.
always got like raging headaches from C4 in college.
Yeah.
And I
So
only took it because that's what my friends tell me it took. And then I would get headaches. I would have to shit. I just didn't like it.
yeah. So a little funny story about C4. So they back in the day they had like the mixture of like M5 and C4 together.
I don't
All
remember
right,
that.
so they had they had like a little twofer. So you put like one little scoop of C4 into this like M5 pre-workout, and
Oh my God.
so I did it, and then I ran out of the M5 stuff, and I just took the C4. So I'm just sitting there, just waiting for the stuff to kick in at my house, just so I can go to the gym. And then just I was playing video games, and just all of a sudden I just feel my head start pulsating, like my heartbeat, and I'm just sitting there like, oh my god, this is not good. I don't know if I can even work out because I think my head might explode.
Yeah. It's not fun.
No,
Not a good time.
no, but it was like whatever. So I stopped taking C4 until like probably like a year ago. So, but I mix it up a little bit. So
You could look for something clean. I have recommendations if you want to talk off
yeah,
podcast.
go for it. What do you got?
Oh, we can do it now.
Yeah.
Gym supplement science.
Okay.
It has 300 milligrams of caffeine. It's called pre-gym, but the flavors are great, and I don't feel like a jolty feeling. Like the beta alanine doesn't give me like those goosebumps that a lot of people like. Oh, I love the goosebumps from the beta. It's not real. That's just like they just put stimulants in there they spike the stimulants in there to make you feel like you're getting something.
Yeah.
It's all like placebo effect anyway.
Hmm.
But with that, I never crash, and it has creatine in it, so that's good. And oh, they're running 22% off on bodybuilding right now. Bodybuilding.com.
Okay. Cool.
Their entire line's 22% off.
All right.
So
So
that's pretty good.
how much is it usual?
30 servings, I think, Oh, I don't remember.
It was like 60, like $50 or something like that.
It's either 50 or 35.
Okay.
But that's for 30 servings, and then and then if there's discounts, then it'll go down, obviously. But yeah.
Okay. Cool. All right. So I know Marble Weightlifting has a YouTube page and a podcast. Oh, actually, before that, I want to talk about you're actually a sponsored athlete too.
Yeah, well, I'm a brand ambassador for Velasa.
Yeah. So
yeah.
How did that come about?
I think they just sent me this like link to an app, and I signed up, and they approved me. But it helps if you have their products and you use their products, because I think it was an open invite for people to apply, but like their Instagram social media person like directly sent me this link in a DM out of nowhere. I mean, they were following me already, so I feel like they had to have known I used their stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah. So what do you?
It's pretty cool.
So you have the shoes that actually have the Whiteboard Daily, like, you know.
Yeah, those are sick.
The image on it, it's like etched in there. So, like how did you get a pair of those, and just like how do they feel compared to like regular like Nikes or Reeboks?
So Whiteboard Daily was doing a promotion with Velasa where they were selling this shoe, and it was a really good deal actually. It was $189, which is like $30 less than their normal price.
Yeah.
And that's with the laser engraving, with the logo, and it's red. It's a red and white shoe. It's the only thing with when they do these special things, they never offer the smaller size for like women that are size 5. Yeah. So I always feel bad. My girlfriend's like size 5, and she wants a shoe, and I'm like, they're not helping. And I keep messaging them. They said they'll do it eventually, but they never do. They will eventually, I hope. But compared to the Nikes, so I'm gonna say these are a slightly heavy shoe, but they're not as heavy as the Nike. I would say between the Reebok and the Nike, they're like in between those two. But I feel like I'm able to, if you're one of those stompers that lifts their feet like that much, you could do it with this shoe. You know, it's doable. I feel like it's heavier enough where you get a responsive feel. The wooden heel feels great when you contact the platform. It feels solid. The structure of the shoe is like well maintained. So the heel cup is like a solid like rubber material that like doesn't deform when you like shove your foot in there every day and you keep it in there for 3 hours. And I don't know, the colors are cool. Just the logo is like etched on, is like a rubber inlay on the front, and the overall structure of the shoe is well maintained. There's like an elastic webbing on the like attached to the laces, and the heel strap isn't like, you know, the Nike heel strap like goes all the way to the floor sometimes.
Yeah.
It's like really long when you put it on tight. Well, I don't know about the 3s, but I'm talking about the 2s.
Yeah, so the 3 that I have a pair of 3s, like the white ones that I have, and those don't go to the ground. But I know like the
2 does.
The 2 does. They're like 2 straps that like hit the ground, and I'm like, how is that safe?
Yeah. Well, it doesn't hit the ground. It's like half an inch off, but that's like really close, you know. Yeah. I mean, if it caught on something, I wouldn't be happy. So, like the heel strap on the Velasa, it spans like across the entire bridge of the foot, like a little more than that. So it'll be over the top of the foot where it feels like secure and snug on there, just like the Nike, except the difference is it goes a little past what the Nike does. The Nike one has it just to the tongue. The Velasa goes a little past the tongue, and then the strap isn't as long as the Nike. So I feel like it's more secure and snug in there, and it feels comfortable. I wear that thing for like 3-4 hours sometimes.
Yeah. So how long does it take for like you have to buy like a new pair of lifters?
Me personally?
Yeah.
I've never gone through any of my lifters. I mean, I just like new things, you know.
Yeah.
I like changing around with new lifters just for the looks of it. But I would say my most beaten up lifters are the Position USAs. They're also a wooden heel, but the structure of that shoe is nothing like Velasa's. I mean, it's like the logo on the heel is like ripped out of the seams and like shit like that. It's just, they look cool because they're USA colors, but I don't have the heart to throw them away because they're a wooden heel, and I'd rather give them to someone, but
Yeah.
I can't wear them anymore.
Yeah. So I know we talked. I said earlier about you. So Marble Weightlifting, you're part of that, like the podcast and YouTube channel. So how's that going?
We started with just internal podcasts with just our gym members, and we would go through with different people. And now he's interviewing people. He's interviewing various people like Coach Jim Rutter, who wrote the book "Sport is Steroids."
Yep. Okay.
Did you read that?
No,
Did you
I
hear
haven't
about
yet.
that?
No, I've heard good things about it though.
Yeah, I'm gonna read it after he's done with it. But Sports Steroids, he's interviewing him. He's interviewed his athlete Morgan Vosabule. She competed at our meet, so he's gotten in with her. He's trying to contact people like Sarah Robles, but she's busy with the Olympics. And I see you get some good names on there too, like the Misfit owners and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So we're trying to get people, but he has a long friend network from all the gyms he's been to and people he's met over the years, and like coaches that he knows. Just you just meet people at meets, and he just has an extensive list of people that he knows, and then there's a lot of people I don't know that he interviews, and it's cool to hear all the new perspectives he has. Like I think the episode that he released last week was with a bodybuilder. I don't know, semi-pro or pro or something, but it's like it's cool to hear. Like you have a bodybuilder here, and then you have a power lifter guy, and then we had someone on the podcast who's banned for steroids, so it's like it's interesting, I guess.
Yeah. Yeah,
it's good. It's good to hear everything that's new.
Yeah, so that's why I love podcasting. At least to like meet new people and talk to them and just hear their experiences, which is like something like probably like 7 years ago you probably wouldn't be able to do.
Yeah, because we didn't have video chat that well.
Yeah,
that
true.
Good.
Yeah, you had to like literally go on a phone or like literally go to them and just kind of do the podcast.
I think it's just so wild that Joe Rogan still invites people to his. What is that, like a bunker? I don't even know where he.
Yeah.
Where is he?
Well, I think I think his bank of episodes were so long because he does like 3 or 4 episodes a day.
Yeah.
And they're like crazy. Like just depends on like the scheduling, but I mean, he probably had such a bank that like he didn't have to worry about like he could take time off and still have like episodes coming in.
Yeah, but I'm just like surprised that he still invites people in person to do his episodes,
Yeah, I mean, there's social
like
distancing.
the Matt Frazier one was in person for sure.
Yeah, I mean, they're probably social distancing, or they probably test them before they get in.
No, yeah, I don't care about that. I'm just saying I'm surprised in this day and age with all the technology we have that he wouldn't just do a Zoom call or something.
Yeah. I mean, I think personally I think it's better in person, but it's like obviously hard with the whole COVID this stuff. But
well, he's got all the funding to do it, so.
No, yeah, I mean $100 million. Shoot, it's crazy.
Just fly everyone out,
Yeah, exactly. So, with the YouTube channel, like, what are you guys doing for your YouTube channel?
We used to do things like marble challenges where we create some ridiculous lift or complex that we would do, and then challenge other people to it on social media, and then we would post some like highly edited video of a bunch of us or a couple of us doing it, or going head to head or something like that, or just doing like a challenge where we had a team challenge once where we had 2 teams of just purely lifters that teamed up, and we were doing like CrossFit style workouts with weightlifting thrown in.
Yeah.
It was just so funny to watch because we were clearly out of shape, but it's great. Nowadays he does a lot of technique videos, so he'll have like a breakdown of the snatch and exercises to improve it. He puts a lot of his he has like an exercise library for his Train Heroic, so it'll link directly to his YouTube channel, and he has all the exercise demonstrations and the complexes that he does. He puts all of his podcasts on YouTube. Like our Zoom calls, he'll have that on YouTube. And yeah, that's pretty much it. I mean, we put my review on there of the Velosa, but
yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
I'm not great at reviewing, as you can tell.
Oh, that's so good. It was good. I mean, I liked it, so it all matters. But okay, so we're getting close to the end. So we have a couple quick questions, kind of like pretty much talked to all my guests about this, but
Mm.
what are your goals for the end of the year? Do you have any goals that you want to hit? I mean, I know you talked about weightlifting, but do you have like anything like personal or, business wise that you want to, hit by the end of the year?
Yeah, I do want to put like I want to put like 50% more into my stock portfolio. I've been a little slacking off the last couple months just because of the volatility of the market, but
Mm,
I do want to get back into it when I feel like I can make smarter investments and put more time into thinking about it and researching. It's just I don't I've fallen into the trap of settling for IPOs that I think people would invest in and investing too early and then just losing on that. And just, it's the waiting game of just waiting for that to settle in and eventually make some money. But I want to research more into individual stocks just to see if I can make any smart investments, and then also look into just funds, just put in a little more stabler investments. Let's see. I had reading goals. I've not been reading well, but I have like a bunch of books over there in the back that I just need to start cracking down on. I mean, when you get on a book, do you know that feeling when you get on a book that it's just so difficult to get through, even though it's a good book, it's difficult to get through that you just can't make any progress whatsoever?
yeah.
That's Dante's Inferno for me. Yeah, it's pretty hard
Yeah.
because the language is just ridiculous. I mean, I just don't know what they're talking about. I can't settle into it. 7 pages takes me like an hour. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah. So like if I have a book like that, I'm like, all right, I'll give it the first like three chapters, even like that television series too. If like, all right, I'll give it like three episodes, and
Mm,
if I can't make it through it, forget it. I'll just go to something else. So
yeah, but I feel like I have to read Dante's Inferno because my dad's an English professor, and I would be disappointing him if I didn't at least try to get through it.
yeah.
So I started it sometime like early last year, and I just need to do it. If I only finish that one book this year, I'll be happy.
All right, hey, that works. So do you have like I know you're just talking about Dante's Inferno, but do you have like another favorite book you like to read, or like kind of tell to your friends and be like, hey, you got to read this book. It could be either fiction or nonfiction.
Yeah, I do. I read this book when I was a senior in high school, and it was for an art history class, and it was extra credit. But I was so glad it was extra credit because I flew through that. I read it on a vacation, spring break. It's called Pillars of the Earth,
Mm-hmm.
and I think it was an Oprah book club bestseller at the time. But it's basically about like a historical architecture type of book where, or like historical fiction, where it's going through like an architect's like journey to build like a Gothic cathedral, and it's like talking about the political climate and the his personal life and all that, and how that all goes into building this cathedral. And it just fast forwards, and you realize that this book is actually about a real cathedral that exists. But I don't know. I just thought it was really cool.
Oh, really cool. That's awesome. Yeah,
Yeah.
I'll definitely look into that. Um, so this is the question I ask all the diabetics. So, what would you tell somebody that was newly diagnosed with diabetes, like what to expect for the rest of their life?
Um, I would say find something that keeps you grounded, that you can pursue, that will make life have meaning, if you know what I mean.
Mm,
Like, for me, it's right now it's weightlifting, but at first it was like doing these races because it gave me a sense of accomplishment on the weekends, and I felt like I could build to something and get better by improving my times and all that. But working out, fitness for me, someone else might like painting, someone else might like reading, someone else might like writing. So just find something that keeps you grounded, that you can say that your life has meaning other than just you're a diabetic.
mm-hmm.
Like don't make diabetes your life. Just make it something that like having a cell phone or a wallet that you can't lose. You just
That's a good
that's just
example.
that's just one of your responsibilities. You just can't lose this.
Yeah, yeah, and I do see like other diabetics in the fit like in on social media, like it's like their whole life is like all about diabetes, and granted, I have a T-shirt company that donates to the Children's Diabetes Foundation. I have to talk about diabetes and stuff like that. I try not to make it like my whole life because it's like I don't want even my wife said like you don't want this disease to run your life. You kind of want it the opposite way. And so
yeah, like a lot of people on social media tell me they didn't know I had diabetes. Like
yeah.
I'll post something. I'll post like my blood sugar or something. I'll be like, you have diabetes, or what is that? Or like I'll I'll post like diabetes awareness month or day once a year, and they'll be like, whoa, you have diabetes? I didn't know that. And like my roommate even told me that she had no clue I had diabetes, even when I told her like a month after she moved in or something. Like my friends, I'll forget to tell them, so they won't know, and then they'll see me take this out. Like, what's that?
Yeah.
So I forget to tell people because I don't think it's important to tell people unless they're an integral part of my life where I feel like they should know this just in case,
Yeah. No, I agree. So do you get like I get this like all the time. Do you get it like, oh, you're type 1 diabetic, but you look so fit, or like you don't look like a diabetic? Do you ever get that?
Kinda. I mean, I get more of the surprise that I'm like type 1 diabetic, but I don't get the negative part of it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. Okay.
Like they're surprised I'm type 1 just because of my lifestyle, but they don't say, well, I find it hard to believe that you're type 1 if you're working out. But like, yeah, they don't understand that like type 2 is what they're really thinking about. And it's not always the case. I mean, even a lot of type 2s, they get that from not only obesity, but just a genetic predisposition to immune system deficiency. Like my friend got type 2 when he was like 37 or something, and it came out of nowhere. Mm-hmm. But he's not. He works out. He does races, so I don't. And then my other friend, he injected insulin for, the pump, and he gave himself diabetes. So that was dumb, but
yeah, stupid. But all right, so last two questions. So if anybody has any questions about like weightlifting or diabetes or anything like that, where can they hit you up with at?
So I tend to keep my Facebook personal, but my Instagram is just Zucaro. And then I also link people to more about weightlifting. If you want to get linked up to the programming, I have 15% off of my profile. But we follow the same program. So really, if you want to do what I'm doing, you can just hit me up, and I can tell you about the Olympic weightlifting, what's going on a daily basis, and basically just Instagram. And cool. I'm on Twitter, but I never use it.
Yeah, I just read
it. You won't find any bad tweets on Twitter. It's just reposts from Instagram.
So, last question. So, how long are you going to have the beard?
Oh, that's a good question. So I'm thinking my parents or my mom is like not about it. She doesn't like it. But the thing is, I don't take care of it. So when I take care of it, though, it looks really good. Mm-hmm. Tomorrow I'm getting it trimmed. I'm getting it all nice for the Florida trip. But I'm keeping the beard until 2022. That's the plan.
Dang, that's a long time.
But I want to see how long it gets. Like if I get called Santa Claus at Disney World at the end of the year, I'll be happy.
Yeah. So there's a guy that I know. His name's Dex Hopkins. I don't know if
he's got a beard. Yeah.
Well, he shaved it off, but I think he's growing it back again. But like his beard was just amazing. It was so long.
He had little like things coming out, right?
No, his was like pretty straight down. So
okay, because I thought he had like little like strands coming out, like with like rubber bands in it, or like little hair ties. Or something.
He might have. But, yeah,
his beard is nice. Yeah.
I used to have a beard, and then like I had to shave it off because every time I kiss my kids, and like it was just like they get like little red red marks in their cheeks, and I'm like I can't do that anymore. So I have to like shave every time. I have to give.
Well, why didn't you just shave the mustache?
Yeah, I know. If I go full beard, I'm going all in. So
yeah, I hear you.
I can't not do just like not have a mustache.
Yeah, so I try to like shave like right above the lip, and it's like you could see it's like draping into the lip, so it's like annoying. but I'm getting it trimmed tomorrow anyway. So
Yeah,
I try to shave it right above the lip just so I don't bother my girlfriend. But yeah.
Well, I still do that too, but it's like it's still to a point like it just stabs them, and they're like I'm like forget it. So, but hey,
I'm more doing it for a statement, you know. Like
yeah,
I think it looks great. Honestly, sometimes it looks really bad, but that's like usually right after a workout. Other times, I think it looks pretty cool.
Yeah. Well, I have to shave it because my white hair is like all over, so I'm just like forget it.
Oh yeah.
But
I have to pluck the grays out sometimes.
No, they're like all over. It's useless. So. But hey, man, thank you very much for being on the podcast. Like I truly appreciate it, and I'm so glad that we actually got a chance to do like a talk like face to face through like a computer. So
thanks, Tom. Yeah, I've been looking forward to this since we first met. So thanks for having me.
Yeah. Well, all right. Well, have a good one.
All right.